federal bureaucrats who are defending thimerosal. And I said, what are you relying on? And I looked at the science they're relying on, and I can tell you, Joe, it is so weak. And you and I have seen, in legal practice with junk science, and we know, what these phony scientists are who create this stuff.
It happened in big tobacco.
Right.
It happens in big oil.
It's
happening in global warming. And now it's happening in a way that's impacting our kids' lives.
This is classic tobacco science. It is junk science. And I was looking at these reports and saying, this is the best. This is what you're relying on. They know it's fraudulent.
Okay.
And now we have the transcripts.
Explain it to me, Bobby, okay? I mean, explain it to me. If that's the case, okay, you and I both know about politics, obviously. Politicians like to get reelected. Why are they sitting back and if our children are being poisoned, if the science is there, why are they sitting back and letting our children be poisoned?
Because the same regulatory bureaucrats that green-lighted thimerosal originally are now trying to cover their tracks.
It's a CYA operation.
Right, and they're working with the pharmaceutical industry, and we now have the transcripts of this secret meeting that they did in Simpsonwood, Georgia in the year 2000, and it's the most horrifying thing that you can read, Joe. There are scientists there from the government who are reading the reports and saying, this is undeniable, there's no...
Absolutely. What is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about? In 2000, and it's happened several other times, Congressman used congressional power to force CDC to release secret documents to them. And then several congressmen who have brain-damaged children and grandchildren released it, even though they weren't supposed to. This was classified. And it was the heads of the CDC and the scientists saying, I wouldn't give it to my grandchildren or my kids. We've brain-damaged millions. And they say, well, we got to continue it. We can't admit that we know this does this, or we'll all go to prison. Now, they then, when that all came out in 2002, the documents were from 2000, but it took 2 years for it to come out. It was even on ABC Nightly News. Since then, they've lied and said the mercury was taken out. Ladies and gentlemen, under federal regulations, vaccine makers are supposed to, they don't always do this, make a small amount of non-mercury vaccines. So that's all that happens. Yes, are there vaccines without mercury? Can the news hold up an insert of a vaccine that might be 1% of that type of vaccine that's out there? It's even less than that in the studies I've seen. Can you, if you're Andrea Merkel of Germany or Gordon Brown of England or Barack Obama and his daughters of USA, can you get one that doesn't have mercury? Yes. Can you go to an office and order it? If you know what to ask for, they can order it. You can come back a week later and be shot up with it. It's still got the cancer viruses. It's still got the RNA. It's still got the aluminum. It's still all these foreign... Because it's not just the viruses that are breeding up on caterpillar eggs and baby retinas and dog kidneys or monkey kidneys. That's the main things they use. Even most of the vaccine you hear about that's grown on eggs, the original virus for the original sample, the seed stock, is grown in tissue. And then it's brought over and put in eggs. But it's growing the same thing. You know, I mean, if I grow squash plants in a greenhouse and then take those plant seeds out of the greenhouse and go plant them out in the field or up against a fence row next year, it's the same squash. You understand that? It's the same watermelons. It's the same blueberries. It's the same thing. It's just their children, but the exact same genetics. And they know this. They know this. They know this. And everyone is waking up now. Literally, the vast majority, over 70% in U.S. polls, think it's bad and don't want it. But the media goes out and interviews 20, 30, 40, 50 people till they find the one person that will say they like it, and they put them on the news. That's who they put on the news. That's who they push. And let me give you the news flash. 4 years ago, the Associated Press told the truth and reported, and the article said, we don't know why, that all the major vaccine makers for hepatitis, for flu, for MMR, increased mercury. They didn't just put it back in, they increased it not one-fold, not double, not triple, not quadruple, 5 times what the mercury was before. So before, it was 400 times the safe level of mercury in a average 1-year round of shots for a 5-year-old. 400 times for their body weight. It's not quite as bad with an adult. Just like a big guy can drink more beer and not get drunk. But for a child, imagine a newborn baby given 3 shots at birth. Then 6 months later, 5 more shots. Then when they're 18 months, more shots. So I see these fake studies by the media, and they're always deceptive. 5 minutes, you can prove they're a lie. Going, study shows kids are still getting autism even though mercury's out of the shots. But then you go read the study. The study was done with regular vaccines. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they lie, and 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 they lie. But the good news here is, on the Federal Reserve, or on vaccines, or on the war, or on warrantless wiretapping, or the police state, in every poll, the majority, way over 70%, are against all this. We're the people. This is our country. You can't make us do all this. So the good news is, the momentum's shifting. So the establishment is firing everything they've got at us in an attempt to make us capitulate. And it's not going to work. The police aren't bad. Most of the FBI people aren't bad. Most of them are investigating bank robberies and kidnappings. It's that higher up group that are bad. Most people in banking aren't bad. They're just giving you a home loan. It's the big bankers up at the top. Most people in Congress aren't bad. They're just corrupt and whores and competitive, so they sell out to be in power. We have to get the message out about how bad this is if we continue along this line. Now, listen, I'm going to come back in the next segment, the segment after that, and get through this bank of callers. Have your questions and comments ready. Woody, Malcolm, Raul, Eric, Derek, and Hawaii, and others. But I wanted to bring Ted Anderson up, and tomorrow I'm going to fish the clip out and play it. Ron Paul said they tried to kill gold. It didn't work. And that's what mainstream news is reporting. They put hundreds of billions of dollars. In fact, I have the Reuters article in my stack. Ted can fill us in on it. Hundreds of billions of dollars. What was it, a $200 billion buy? They dumped this gold on the market, leveraged its trillions, thinking it would drive it down from above 1,000. Instead, it shot up to 1,099. And you heard it from Ron Paul, who's an economist, not just a medical doctor, saying they're going to lose the war on gold. He believes it's only going to go up. I don't know. But all the smart money is on it going up. And at least as the dollar plunges and G20 meets to do it fully, they can't kill gold because it's real. They may be able to drive it down for a while. Doesn't look like that, but it will always beach ball back up like pushing a beach ball to the bottom of the pool. Ted, take us out to break with what Ron Paul was saying earlier about gold and then today's gold offer. Ted Anderson of Midas Resources.
Well, Alex, they've been playing those tricks. I mean, going all the way back to the middle 1980s. And we went to our market peak in 1980 where gold hit $800 an ounce, silver hit $50 an ounce, and then it started backing off down into 1982. The central banks of the world unitedly had tried to suppress the market price of gold and keep it below $400 an ounce for the longest time. Anybody that wants to have information on that can find it. It's not like it's hidden. You can go right over to GATA or GATA.org. That's GATA.org. Now, the latest thing is, I mean, they do postings up there for just recently as well. And honestly, I mean, that's what I mean when I say that when the gold prices drop down and I'm able to buy in those dips, usually most of the time that is occurring here in the New York market. And the reason why it's happening is because the Federal Reserve System has such a heavy interest in seeing the United States dollar stay strong and gold stay suppressed. See, it's the game of the fiat currency makers is to try to keep you out of anything that it stands in the way of their profit-making machine. And I have to say that it is one insidious profit-making machine because they have legal tender laws pointing at them that allows them to create the currency of the nation, and they lend it to us, and we have to service interest on that debt. Now, you have to realize what that means. I mean, what has our country been doing here for the last at least 30 years is deficit spending. So where does deficit spending, who does it help and who does it hurt?